Hey, Pashi.
Hey, Sufi.
Well, it's only a week away.
What's that?
Your wedding.
Yeah, I know.
I'm working on my my toast. My best man toast.
Great.
I have a few questions.
Okay, sure.
You also grew up in Bedford, New Hampshire, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Height? What would you say? What are you saying now today's for your height?
You can go 6'1" or 6'2". It depends on what the hair's doing.
Okay, gotcha. And this vegan thing, real or a bit?
Real. Totally real.
Okay, great. All right. That's I think so far that all my stuff's going to work.
Okay, great.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling?
I feel great. A little stressed. There's a few more things that we need to do, but someone asked me recently, am I nervous? I'm not nervous. I'm super excited for the weekend, and I'm just stressed to get things in a place where I want to hit the weekend and I want it to just sort of run itself, but I want to make preparations so that it can run itself once we get to that weekend.
I'm super excited.
We're super excited, and
do you think Mom will cry 5 times or 10 times more than she cried at my wedding? You're her baby.
I don't know.
You're a baby boy. I'm sorry, it's different.
Mom and I were talking about what song we were going to do our first dance to.
Yeah.
Mother-son dance. And
I would like the brother dance to be Macarena. Keep going.
Bette Midler has a song, Baby Mine, I think, or maybe it's Baby of Mine. And I had suggested that in a list. And she was like, I can't do that. I'll be crying like a baby because you are my baby boy. And when I listened to it, as I was putting a list of songs together, I started crying.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. But there's going to be a lot of crying at this wedding. I cry a lot. Mackenzie cries a lot. You cry.
I'm a big time crier.
Yeah. So I hope people like that.
I said to Ash, I'm going to give a speech about Pashi and I will definitely cry. He's like, oh my God, don't cry. That's so embarrassing. So I might not. I guess I won't let him stay up.
Yeah.
For his dad's.
He cries sometimes, and now it's going to be sort of a cyclical thing that when he cries, he will feel embarrassed and he's only going to cry more.
Yeah,
and,
I'm always like, crying's great.
Get over that. Yeah.
It's the best. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of crying. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to all those tears.
Yeah, me too.
I'm also looking forward to, well, they'll all be with me, but this week to end, everyone except Alexi in my house has been sick. And on Tuesday, I stayed home, which I never do. And Axel didn't want to go to school, but he had already missed school. It was time for him to go back. And a very funny thing happens, which is how quickly Addie, who's the youngest, it becomes like just a caregiver, like just her. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just like girls are just like so sweet. And he was like crying and saying, I don't want to go to the school. And she walked over and goes, it is okay, Axel. You can stay at home with Dada. And then Alexi's like, no, he can't. And she's like, oh, I am sorry, Axel. You can go to school, and when you are sick, Mommy will come and get you. And Alexi goes like, Addie, that's not it either. And she was like, Axel, you have to go to school now. But it was so funny how she just kept trying to like find a way to like placate screaming Axel.
Yeah. Well, good for her.
By the way, he was screaming so hard the other day. I took him to school. He was, the whole walk, he was screaming about not wanting to go. And then got him to school. And then I had to walk Addie to school. And Axel had been so late and so hard to get to school that by the time we got Addie to school, she was late. And she came into the class, and one of the girls in her class goes, Addie, you're late. And she just goes, Axel woke up screaming.
That's a good as explanation as you need, I guess.
And the last thing I'll say about the day is we're walking. I have 3 kids by myself. No big deal. And Axel was so mad, and he didn't want to go to school. And at one point, he wrestled away from me and started running back towards our apartment. And like we were only a couple of blocks away. But I had to like leave Ash with Addie in the stroller and run and grab him. And I was so mad. And so then I was holding his sweatshirt as we were going to school. And like I'm basically pushing a stroller and holding him by the back of the sweatshirt so he can't run away. And finally at one point he says, you can let go of me now. I don't know how to get home from here. And I was like, oh, that's pretty good logic. He was basically like, I'm stuck with you.
Yeah.
We're too far away from the apartment. I wouldn't know which way to run.
Yeah. I feel like I always imagine dad in those situations where, like, if you're under stress with a lot of kids, like how dad would be, and how you and I share that same sort of. And I feel like grabbing onto a sweatshirt really tight is something I can see dad doing in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you look just like him in that moment.
No, that's the thing. Like nobody like sees the breath of your bad morning when you're a dad just like grabbing your kid by the back of a sweatshirt and like hauling him.
Yeah.
Tippy toes on the pavement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited. The kids are excited. I don't want to correct Axel. And there's a chance he says what he's been saying at the wedding.
Okay.
But he keeps saying that he hopes he'll be a ring barrier.
Okay.
Yeah. He's not saying bearer. He's saying barrier.
Right.
Yeah.
If he is, then Ash will have to be a ring digger upper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be really funny if he's buried. He's buried more.
Yeah.
Buried his glasses.
Yeah. So no, we're still finalizing sort of exactly what it is they're going to do, but I'm sure they're going to do great.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to look cute.
Yeah, they're definitely going to look cute.
This is that's a real, for the Meyers family, Katee Sackhoff is a big deal.
Yeah. Battlestar Galactica was one of those shows where if you hadn't watched it, you were in danger of mom and dad telling you the entire plot of the episode that you wanted to watch. So we were on it.
Yeah.
And we would, like, if you were home, you would watch it with mom and dad, but it was one that you didn't let them sort of pile up and catch up later. You stayed on top of it.
Yeah. And it was really, mom calls dad the old man. Mm-hmm. And that was also what Saltai called Adama. And so I think they felt a lot of simpatico with the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, Katee Sackhoff, we love talking to fellow podcasters. She's got the Sackhoff Show. And I think you'll tell over the course of this interview that she makes a very good podcaster as well.
Absolutely. Good conversation.
Good conversation. So I guess, we're going to do, will there be one more of these? No.
Yeah. This is going to be the last one.
The last one, the next time
before I got a ring on this finger.
Wow. Crazy. I mean, I do feel like, I don't know, I feel like mean saying this to Mackenzie, but if you're a hot lady out there and you feel like Josh is the one for you, just try to figure out where the wedding is. It's the last chance. I'm just saying it's the last chance.
Yeah, that ship has sailed.
Yeah, it sailed.
Yeah. I bought my ticket.
I'm very excited. I mean, I get a sister out of this.
Yeah.
Pretty big deal for me.
Yeah. Big hugger.
Big hugger. Love a big hugger.
Yeah.
She's going to be throwing those hugs around this whole weekend.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
All right, buddy. Well, I love you very much. I can't wait to get to see you in person before I see you on the pod.
Yeah. Love you too. And enjoy this episode, everybody.
Enjoy Jeff Tweedy.
Family trips with the Meyers brothers. Family trips with the Meyers brothers. Here we go.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. We are very excited about this one. Not that we're not. I don't want like previous guests to think that we weren't, but this is a big deal for us.
Yeah. I will say, I don't know if you remember, Katie, but there was years ago, you were in a TSA line and I was in the same line and I saw you and you wouldn't have known who I was. But for me, it was very exciting. We kept snaking by each other. No, I didn't. Because like, you're just, someone's getting to get on
Josh,
a flight.
you said, that's really, usually when people are like, you're not going to remember this, I think they might. And that one, well, of course they're not.
No, zero chance of her
You also
that.
might not remember this. I was for years a peeping Tom of yours.
You did. That was you.
It was me.
I knew. I thought it was your brother.
No, I was somewhere I was allowed to be when I was in the TSA line. And I was like, oh, that's Katee Sackhoff. And that's cool. And we kept going. I was like, oh, that's cool. And now this is even cooler.
every time that happens to me, I just pray to God I wasn't like an asshole. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
no.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, was it a bad day? Was it like one of those days where like my TSA didn't go through and like
Yeah.
I was thrown to the back of a line or something?
Do you feel like you have a little bit more wiggle room to be an asshole because you played such a lovable asshole on TV?
It's so funny. I think that people just expect for me to be a bit of a bitchy person. So the thing that I hear the most is that, oh my gosh, you're so smiley and upbeat. What?
Yes.
And they think that that's an act. And I'm like,
Right,
no,
right.
that's actually just me. Like I am the crazy person that's like, like a smile on my face all the time.
Yeah,
but I
the other thing is
assholes
acting.
really well.
Yeah, you do. Well, and I mean, like the important part is you're not actually an asshole. Do you remember the one time we met?
No, I have a terrible memory.
Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, all right, I'll tell you the story first. I was a guest
Okay.
on David Letterman, and it was the Battlestar Galactica cast did the top 10 list.
Yes.
And
Yes. Okay.
it was very
Okay.
exciting for me because I was a huge fan of the show, and I got a
Yes.
picture with all of you. But the thing I'll say is you guys all were in costume in character. And I will say, like, I got the sense that maybe you as a group weren't as psyched about it.
I think that at the time, because that is the only time I have been on Letterman. So I think at the time we were all just like, this is crazy cool. But there is also a part of you that in the back of your mind is like, so what you're saying is I'm not cool enough to be a guest as myself.
Right.
Okay, it's fine. I'm here. I'm here. But yeah, I mean, of course, that your ego in the back of your mind is like, all right, you've never had me back.
Well, I applaud that whole cast for stepping up and doing that. Like, because I feel like
also, it worked out great for me because I did get a picture
With everyone in
fully
costume?
in costume. Yeah.
wow.
Like, that's probably the only time that's ever happened. I don't think it's ever happened before, unless you managed to get on set, which some people did. There are some people that came on set because they were big fans, like, at the time, and were up in Vancouver for whatever. Like, the whole Anthrax band
Fantastic.
were, like, big fans
yeah.
and came to set. So they've got pictures with all of it. It's so, yeah.
I promise
But that
we
was
are
a
gonna,
long time ago.
It is a long time ago. I was asked, I think it was for Variety's top 100 shows. I was asked, do you want to write an entry? And I wrote mine about Battlestar Galactica and how it
Did
was
you
one.
really?
I did. I just wrote it a couple months ago, and I really did. Before I knew you were coming on, I wrote wonderful things about you. So just know that I wasn't doing it because I knew you were coming on.
What was it about Battlestar Galactica that had such an impact, like, on your opinion of television at that time?
Well, it was basically just, this was, Variety asked, they're like, we're doing our top 100 shows. Do you want to write about one? And I was trying to pick one that maybe I thought nobody, or I guess I said, they had the list. Sorry, let me establish.
Right.
They had the list. So they had picked Battlestar. And they said, these are ones nobody has written about. And I just jumped at the chance to write about it. And then because I was writing about it, I rewatched the first miniseries and season 1 in like a day and a half. It's really, it comes back pretty great.
Part of me is hoping that this issue hasn't printed yet, and it's going to print, and someone else will have written the Battlestar Galactica
They didn't
rundown.
take mine. Yeah, that'd be heartbreaking.
Like, they were like, sorry, Seth, it wasn't.
He's talking
wasn't
about
very
it.
good.
But I wrote the Battlestar, and then it's like, oh, Dave Eggers writes about Battlestar Galactica.
Eggers, they always pick Eggers.
It was a long time ago. I need to watch it. I've never watched it. So I
did you watch
actually
it
need
when
to
it
go. No. So what we did was back in the day when we were filming, we did crazy long hours on that show. And I had a girlfriend that worked in the office that was one of the producer's assistants. And they would give us in order to sort of track where we were at, we could go in and request to take the DVD in its rough cut to our trailers, watch the last few episodes. So we sort of like knew how it cut together, where we were, things like that. So I've watched I would say the majority of this series in rough cut form while I was filming the show. And so that's the only way I've seen it, without special effects, without final color correction, sound, all of that stuff. So I need to go back and actually watch it. And my husband's never seen it. So I think it would, be kind of fun.
Yeah. The best thing I can say is it holds up, which not everything does. So you're in for a real treat.
Really?
It really does.
Oh, I'm excited. And I'm such a baby on this show that I think that I could actually have that separation now and be like, oh, that character's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely. Oh, you're going to be very happy with how you look, everything about it. You're going to be thrilled. The last thing I'll say about it is my girlfriend, who is now my wife, lived in LA where Josh was. I lived in New York. And I was visiting her when the series finale aired. And Josh came over and we watched it together. And she'd never watched the show. So she basically was in the other room while Josh and I were on the couch side by side watching the final Battlestar. And we were both like tearing up. And she just came in and was like, ugh. I do not think it was the most masculine she's ever seen me.
But she married you.
She did.
Yeah.
She knew what she was
masculinity is way overrated.
Yes.
Completely overrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's
Choking
anything,
up.
it's toxic, y'all.
It's toxic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get choked up
mean-
at Battlestar and find your true inner self.
And then post on social media to prove that you did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors.
Family Trips is supported by Airbnb. Hey, Bashi.
Yeah, Sufi.
We have an annual trip.
Yeah, we sure do. We get a couple regular trips, but which trip are you talking about?
I'm talking about the fact that you and I and 10 of our closest college friends get together every September for our fantasy football draft.
Such a
and
good trip.
Very little of the trip is about a fantasy football draft.
Yeah. I always feel a little nerdy saying that we're going on a fantasy football draft, but we're going to hang out with our buddies.
Yeah, that's why I say it's a fantasy friendship draft. Would that make it less nerdy, or is that maybe worse?
No, I think it's charming. It's sweet.
So this year for our fantasy friendship draft, we have a fantasy location booked. And it's all thanks to Airbnb. We found a place that has enough space for all of us and enough bedrooms for all of us and has a lot of outdoor activities, a fire pit. There's a fire pit, Pashi.
There's a fire pit. I want to say there's a volleyball court.
Yep.
There's a pickleball court. There's a lot.
It's driving distance to a hospital that a bunch of 50-year-old guys are going to have to go to when we blow our ACLs.
Yeah.
But in general, it is so nice that it has all the things that we could not get with our group at a hotel.
Oh, absolutely not. Because what you want is you want to be able to hang out together for as long as you can. And then if it's time to go to bed, you go to bed. But everyone else is sort of in the same place. And one thing that we're sort of focused on trips like this is no new friends.
No new friends. We don't want to meet them. We don't want to make them. We're happy with who we are. And maybe you're someone who's thinking, you know what? My home could be a great get-together for old friends who are not looking to meet new people. You've put a lot of time, effort, and work into your home, and someone out there would probably love to experience it while they're traveling. And then they would rave about how it was the highlight of their trip. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host.
Support comes from Blue Land. Did you know we're eating and drinking roughly a credit card's worth of plastic a week? Yep, that's right. And that's also pretty gross. And it's happening because the products that we're using every day are ultimately contaminating our water supply, generating hundreds of microplastics that we end up ingesting. So Blue Land set out to do something about it. Eliminate the need for single-use plastic and the products we reach for the most. Blue Land is on a mission to eliminate single-use plastic by reinventing cleaning essentials to be better for you and the planet with the same powerful clean you're used to. I started using Blue Land a couple years ago. I read an article just about plastics, and it really got me in the dumps. But then it also suggested products that were out there that don't use as much plastic, and I gotta say Blue Land was on the top of the list, and I am a consumer of their products, and I'm a big fan. I would go buy a huge thing of laundry detergent, and then when you put that huge plastic container in the recycling bin, you're like, is this actually gonna get recycled? I felt like there had to be a better way, and Blue Land is that better way. The idea is simple. They offer refillable cleaning products with a beautiful, cohesive design that looks great on your counter. Fill your reusable bottles with water, drop in the tablets, and wait for them to dissolve. You'll never have to grab bulky cleaning supplies on your grocery run. Refills start at just $2.25, and you can even set up a subscription or buy in bulk for additional savings. From cleaning sprays to hand soap, toilet bowl cleaner, and laundry tablets, all Blue Land products are made with clean ingredients you can feel good about. Blue Land is trusted in over 1 million homes, including mine. Blue Land has a special offer for our listeners. Right now, get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/trips. You won't want to miss this. blueland.com/trips for 15% off. That's blueland.com/trips to get 15% off. And keep it clean, everybody.
Here we go.
So you grew up in Oregon. You're an Oregon girl, yeah?
I am. And we actually moved back as a family about a year ago now.
All right.
I grew up in a really, really small town that, I think maybe had a traffic light. Has since gotten a little bit bigger, but because the mill, called St. Helens, Oregon, but because the mill was closed down, it really is still just a through town, sadly. It had the ability to be something great, I think, because it's right on the water. And it sort of, that went out the window when the mill closed. So I grew up there and then moved to Portland when I was probably 13, went to school there for a little bit, and then immediately moved to Los Angeles when I was 18.
So growing up, were you an outdoorsy family, being from that neck of the woods?
We were, yeah. We were very outdoorsy. I mean, you hear this from so many people that grew up sort of in my generation where, your parents kicked you outside and said, I don't want to see you until dinner time. That was very much the way that we grew up. We grew up in a small town. We were provided the luxury to go wherever we wanted, and our parents knew they could find us somewhere. And, we got into some trouble, and it never too bad. But we were always outside, and it was a big thing. My brother and I were I'm more I'm more organized athletics athletic than my brother. My brother is more like independent athletic. I was going to say that I was more on teams and played outdoors and stuff like that. And my brother has always been outdoorsy and owns a tree farm now. So it's still very much in our DNA.
Is that Christmas trees?
No. So in Oregon, they have this thing. It's called forest or farm deferral, where you can, if you don't cut your trees down, you can defer a portion or all of your taxes, property taxes, to just maintain the forest. And so my brother has a massive piece of property where he selectively cuts trees down, but will maintain the bulk and the majority of those trees because it reduces his taxes. So my husband and I are like, so what farm animals could we get to reduce, and how many farm animals and how much money? It's not a lot, guys. It's like $700. So I'm like, we could go through $700 worth of eggs. Maybe we need a llama. Like that would be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is a mistake you make where you get a horse and you realize, I think this is 10x our taxes. Whatever we saved, we just absolutely put back into this horse.
No, you want something that you can butcher if you have to, if they act up. You know what I mean? Sorry if anyone's vegetarian out there.
If someone's I'm vegan for the record. If someone's gonna butcher an animal between you and your husband, who's it gonna be?
Oh, not me. You guys, I form emotional connections to cockroaches.
Okay. I want to say
it is not me.
To go back to you being a lot smilier than people might think, you said butcher with more light in your eyes than anybody I've ever. You got an animal you can butcher? It was really, I was like, God, it made it seem like it was a favor to the animal.
I mean, slightly, life is hard. Life is hard for a rooster.
It is.
Your brother, older, younger?
My brother is 16 months older than I am, so we're very, very close in age. Had so many of the same friends growing up, and that brought some conflict a lot of the times, especially when it got to a point where I started noticing boys, and they were all my brother's friends. That was a bit of a problem. Yeah.
Did you ever actively date one of his friends?
Oh my gosh. Not to his knowledge.
Great.
Not to his knowledge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you got to keep that stuff secret.
By the way, in the teenage years, like having a secret boyfriend from your brother, I got to imagine that's like ticking a lot of boxes.
It is. My brother was sent away. He was a bit of a demon, and he was sent away to boarding school for a year. And when he came back, I had like really secured myself in the group friend that was his. Because I missed my brother, so I hung out with his friends, and they really like took care of me while he was gone in the way that a brother would. And so those guys are still, great friends of mine.
Did it work sending him away for a year?
No.
Yeah.
So FYI, if your child is a problem child, don't forcibly send them to a boarding school in Provo, Utah.
Fair. Yeah, that there's a lot wrong with that one. It
There
seems
is,
like
but it's also like, at the time, my parents didn't know what to do, and my brother was really sort of off any track that was going to lead to good. And they didn't know what to do. He and my dad were starting to like physically fight, and it was not good. So that was the only, and they didn't forcibly take him. It's not like guys like showed up like, in black suits and carried him away. They told him he was going and he didn't have a choice, and he went. But he still holds it against them today. And
I would imagine.
46. Yeah.
I bet 56, I'm sure it'll be a memory.
It's
Give it
fine.
another 10
It's
years.
fine. Yeah. Another 10 years. My parents will die.
I feel like it just sort of comes with the territory as Oregonians, but were you campers? Did you, as a family, would you like road trip and camp, or was that not your style?
No, guys, I wanted to be that person. I still want to be that person. I say to my husband at least twice a week, we should get some camping stuff. We should be those people.
Right.
But my in-laws, or my brother-in-law and his wife are those people. They go into like Banff National Forest and like camp in like the middle of nowhere where like there's bears and shit. And my husband's like, we should go do that. I'm like, no. I don't want to really camp. I want to stop on the side of the road where you drive like 200 feet into a little river and you set up tents so close to your neighbors that you see, many people's asses that you never needed to see. I don't want to be in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Where if a bear comes, I just roll over and die. I don't want to. That's not my style.
Untouched by the bear, just from fear. Just like, this is better.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I want to be in the Mercedes, like, V8, van.
Yeah.
That's my style.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I would like it to be I would like mine to be a working food truck as well.
Now you're talking about Oregon.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
the
bears would go nowhere near a food truck. Oh, wait a minute.
All right. I didn't think it through.
You guys, we have a bear at our house.
Do you?
And we are not like where my brother lives. Like if my brother was like, I got a bear shitting in my yard, I would be like, oh my God, it makes complete sense. I'm so glad I don't live by you. We just have coyotes. No, there is a bear that is pooping in our yard. And I know this because when we first moved in, we had a lot of trees removed. And I saw this huge pile of poop that my dogs were rolling in. And it was black and it had like seeds in it. And I thought one of the guys who had done the work on our house, because it was raining so bad, I just thought they had to poop. They had to poop, and they just thought it'll rain away. Like, this is what people do in Oregon. Like,
that's
us from California,
loggers.
We were like, right? So we were like, okay. So I brushed that off as like, people poop. Then about like, 3 weeks, a month ago, I see this huge pile of poop again. And I'm like, we haven't had any tree work done. What is this? And there's so many seeds in it. And my father-in-law was here, who middle of, the interior British Columbia, they know wild animals. And he goes, that's bear poop. And I was like, we have a bear? We live 7 minutes away from downtown Portland. Why do we have a bear? Yeah, terrified.
What
I'm
if
scared to go
your
outside.
brother is just bringing the bear poop from his house and leaving it in your yard as an elaborate prank?
I would have so much respect for him if that's what he was doing.
And he's obviously putting it right where you can see it.
Right outside, like the kids' playhouse. You know what I mean? Like where you're going to see it. Where I was like, wow, the bear really likes teacups.
How old are your kids now?
Oh my Lord. Almost 3 and 4 months.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh my
Go with it.
goodness. But our son is so big.
I mean, I want to say congratulations, but is the 4-month-old sleeping?
Yes, you guys, we've been really blessed with like 2 beautiful sleepers. But we also sleep trained the crap out of them. Like
Yep.
for anyone that doesn't believe in sleep training, I'm really sorry. It worked magically for both of us.
Yes. I'm happily married to a woman who believes in sleep training. And it was
a
godsend.
like we took a course and we implemented it immediately. And both of our kids started sleeping through the night around 4 months old. Around 4 months old.
We have 3. We had a great sleeper, a terrible sleeper, and thank God our, she's just turned 3, but she's the best sleeper of all of them. And
The little one?
the little one, and I feel like we just constantly are like, if she'd been a bad one, I don't think we'd still be married because like our sleep is so deprived to begin with, and she has just been an angel.
Yeah. I've started now waking up at 4:30 in the morning to get anything done though, because they
Yes.
both are early risers. They get up at 6 o'clock. So if I don't get up before them, they also stay awake till 7:38. And that's like an hour with my husband. It's like,
Yeah.
or by myself. I have no time for anything. I haven't picked up a weight for a year. Like I'm still figuring out how to be a mom.
Yes, I'm in awe of it as someone who is lucky enough to live with one. So, Godspeed.
Yeah, it's crazy. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Did you guys said you were by the water? Were you a boating family?
That's what we were. So my dad had this thing because he grew up in St. Helens on the water and he always grew up around boats and, smaller boats. And he grew up with very little money. His dad passed when he was really young. And so my dad had this thing in his mind that if he could have a big power boat someday, that he will have made it. That was his like, I've arrived sort of thing, right? And so we grew up on the water. We had a small boat, like a 25-foot Sea Ray type thing, but it slept the whole family. And we spent our summers tooling around the San Juan Islands on this boat with my parents. And my greatest memories, like as a child, are a majority of them are summers in the San Juan Islands on that boat with my family. And my dad has over the years upgraded his boats and to the point where they're now huge and not as fun. To be honest, because it's terrifying now. Now he's 78 and I'm worried he's going to sink us all. Like, it's taken on a completely different life, but we were definitely boaters and it's something that brought so many memories.
Would you sleep on the boat? Were they those kinds of boats?
They were. And my brother and I, our bunk was, my parents had the front of the boat, if you will, like one of those like, queen size sort of beds that goes into a point. And my brother and I were underneath the captain's chairs. So we had this little thing where we crawled into it and that's where we slept. And we slept like, side by side while we were big enough and then foot to head for a long time. And sometimes when we had friends, when we got older, we would actually sleep out on the back of the boat as well. So, because you got so big, we couldn't fit down below. And you get to a point where you don't want to share a bed with your brother anymore. So you have to sort of move apart. But my dad didn't upgrade the size of the boat until we were both older and away from home.
Gotcha. Real slap in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, real slap in the face.
How long would it take to get from where you live to the San Juan Islands? How close were they?
I think it was probably like a day and a half, not far. I mean, you basically from St. Helens, which is really close to like Rainier or Washington. And you sort of like, you go up the river and then you go over the barge and you're now in open water, you're in the ocean. And then it's probably like another, hour. So it wasn't that far. And my dad has done it multiple times by himself as well with the big boat. And they sort of like go up with the yacht club people and like this, this train of drunk people that are driving boats in their 70s. It's really cool. But you hopscotch around those islands. You know, some of them are in the United States, some of them are in Canada. For anyone who doesn't know, they're like the Hawaiian Islands of the Pacific Northwest, and it's really fun to tool around. And we still go up now. My husband and I love it up there.
Do you go by boat?
We don't. Neither one of us knows how to drive a boat. And I mean, I could drive a boat. I can't dock it.
Right.
So, you know, it's crucial to being able to actually experience the whole boating thing.
Right, because otherwise then you get all the way there and you tell your family, like, take a look. And they're like, we're not getting off? You're like, no, just take a look at the beautiful islands.
No. Somebody swims out to get us at a certain point. But we both talk about wanting to learn because it is really wonderful. It is like camping on the water, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm sure when you have such little kids, you really want to learn and know what you're doing before you just get out there with a couple small children.
Yeah. Because, like, you know, I don't think bear mace is not going to save you from like a sinking boat. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
there are certain things that can go wrong while you're camping, and I think that camping, to be honest, is the sort of like financial entry point to camping is very low, depending on what you want that experience to be for your family. Boating is not. You know, boating is a very, very different experience, and that's why my dad had put so much emphasis on someday I'm going to have a boat, because that means I've financially made it as a person, which was very important to him after losing his dad so young. You know.
Yeah.
When you were on a long boat ride to the islands, do you remember what you and your brother were doing? Like, how do you pass? Like, we talked to so many people on this show about like long car rides. Is a long boat ride the same thing?
Same thing. You bring books, you bring, books were huge for both my brother and I. Comic books. I remember my dad would stop by the gas station and we would just grab a bunch of comic books and things like that. And take that with us. You know, we also sat on the back. Like, it was, you know, being down below in a boat when you're moving is like a car ride on steroids. If you get motion sickness at all, you can't be downstairs on a boat when it's moving. So you sort of have to sit up above and be part of the experience, I think, which is part of what my parents loved so much about it, is that it's this forced like connectivity as a family. You can't get out at a gas station and say you're not coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you would sort of hopscotch to these islands, would you get off and walk around for an hour? Would there be like a restaurant that you could dock at? Like, what do you do as you bop around those islands?
So you sort of have to have a little bit of a plan in place, because you do want to either, you know, have a slip for the boat, or anchor out and drop the dinghy and sort of go to the island and things like that. And ultimately what it was we had a little bit of that, but you would stay in one place for a few days and then you would go to the next place. And sometimes that meant you had a slip, if my parents either could afford it or, you know, they were on top of it with their planning. Or other times it just meant you'd drop anchor and we'd sleep out there and we would tool around on the dinghy. And what it was like a lot of things, like we would fish and we would hunt shrimp off a dock, which I've probably eaten so much gasoline in my life, you guys, just from like getting shrimp off a dock. Like, I would never allow my child to eat shrimp off a dock anymore. Like, I don't even know what's in that.
How do you even hunt shrimp off a dock?
It is the coolest thing. So you have to wait for nighttime.
Okay.
And you have your little nets, which all the kids on the docks used to do. I don't know if they still do it. And you get a flashlight. And you look into the water on the edge of the dock. So all these kids are just laying on the edge of the dock with our flashlights pointed down, catching shrimp because their eyes glow. So as soon as you see them, you grab them with the net and then you chuck them in a bucket. And so you could spend, an hour out on that dock and get enough shrimp for like an entire family. And then my mom would cook them and we would just eat shrimp. And that's like what we did. And it was so much fun. And then some of the places would have, you know, a resort at the place where you would dock your boat and you could go to their pool or something like that. But we spent a lot of time going around and seeing what the islands had. Like, there's a lot of hikes, there's, you know, rose gardens and all these things that I'm sure we really appreciated as children. But it was just a fun, outdoorsy kind of like summer, you know?
Do you worry now that their eyes only glowed because they were full of gasoline? That it was the gasoline that made their eyes glow?
The fact that I don't have some sort of like superpower brought on by chemical exposure is really impressive.
I'm just
because-
impressed of all these kids eating shrimp because, of course, my kids, like I've taken my kids clamming, but then they don't
Yes,
really
which
want
we
to eat
also
the
did.
clams. Although my daughter loves clams, but the boys, ugh,
Does she?
useless. She loves them.
So my mom, she loves them. My daughter loves shrimp. I don't know how that happened. She loves shrimp. But my mom had these ways of masking food. Have you ever had a gooey duck before?
Yes, I haven't had one, but Joel McHale, who's from out in Seattle, I feel like he showed a picture of one on the show. It's a giant.
Yeah, giant razor neck clam.
Can I say, does it look like what I think it looks like?
It looks like a vagina and a penis.
Thank you. I think like it was a lot.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that you said it more than I guessed into the void.
It does. And then, for the violent people out there, you take it out of the shell as my mother would, and she would beat the crap out of it with a meat mallet to tenderize it and then bread it and then feed it to us with tartar sauce.
Would she just hit the penis part of it?
100 in front of my dad, just nailing away at that thing.
Come in. I want you to watch me make dinner.
Violent, very violent.
As with fish, and that they might swim away with sound, is there any advantage to shrimp to being quiet as your kids on a dock, or are you giggling and laughing and being kids? Because shrimp don't know what's happening regardless, because they're.
I think that they don't know. That they don't know. I'm sure that when you put them in hot water, they know what's happening. And this makes me feel bad until I eat them. And so I'm sure, but like in the whole catching process, no, they would like just sit there. And I don't know if the flashlight like blinded them and then we caught them. I don't know. But yeah, they don't really, they're not that hard to catch.
Well, people in the San Juan Islands, the expression is like a shrimp and flashlights.
Right, that's what they say. Not a deer in headlights.
they
It's
do
just
say
like
that.
a
They do
shrimp
say
and
that.
flashlight.
They're trying to sell
they
it
do.
to the rest of the
country, but they were like, no.
the main
It's on
ones.
t-shirts.
They can't sell it to Canada or America. Neither of them want it.
They can't. No, but just on the Canadian t-shirts, it say, like a shrimp and a flashlight A, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. They try really hard.
Did you ever, so you would meet other kids, I would guess. You didn't, your high school friends were not on trips like this, correct?
No, so we would meet other kids from other boats, like hanging out on the dock, and then that would sort of be your friend for the summer. Or that would be your friend for a little bit until their family jumped on the boat and went away. But I have this one experience that like still breaks my heart because I think maybe I was an annoying child. I don't know. But I met this one girl and I really liked her, I don't remember her name. I don't remember what she looked like. I just remember that we really got along. And I think there's a picture of us actually together. And then there was this moment where her mother, we were no longer allowed to hang out for the summer. And I was so heartbroken. And I don't know what happened because I wasn't like an obnoxious kid. I mean, I guess I had ADHD, so I probably talked a lot, which, has helped me in my career these days. But I don't know. And I remember that so viscerally because I was like, what could I have done? That like
did you ever invite her over while your mom was making gooey duck?
The dad.
Yeah, maybe.
The dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an issue. But no, you would make friends with people and then you would sort of hang out for the summer with them. And it was fun. It was so much fun. And we would go clamming like you do. And
you were never like, ugh, I want to go back home to see my friends. You were just like happy to be out in the world.
No, I loved it. My brother, not so much. I loved it so much that I did it with my dad alone as I got a little bit older. Or like I would take a friend and it would be my dad and me and a friend because I enjoyed that. And I'm also a people pleaser and it's something my dad enjoys thoroughly and no one else wanted to do it anymore. So I was like, I'll go.
And now we're going to take a quick break to hear from one of our sponsors.
Support for family trips comes from Everyday Dose. Hey, Bashi.
Yes, Ufi.
Say hello, not just to me, but to the next generation of coffee. Everyday Dose combines delicious coffee with functional mushrooms, nootropics, collagen, protein for boosted focus, clarity, energy, sleep, and immunity.
Wouldn't it be nice to be able to feel a lot better?
Excuse me, I said say hello to it.
Oh, hello, Everyday
All right,
Dose.
Go
Wouldn't it be nice to sort of feel a lot clearer, a lot more awake, a lot more with it, other than drinking just like a ton of coffee?
And I drink too much coffee, Posh. I felt like you were directing that to me.
Mm-hmm.
And now, with Everyday Dose, I'm getting more important stuff than just caffeine. I'm getting collagen protein, helps maintain my skin elasticity, volume, and moisture. Also helps make up proteins such as keratin that form skin, hair, nails, makes them stronger. My nails are so strong right now.
Yeah, and your skin is so elastic.
It's so elastic. Lion's mane. It's not an actual mane of a lion, Posh.
No.
You know what lion's mane is.
It's a mushroom, and it can help
Yeah.
to improve your cognitive function, including memory, focus, creativity, productivity, mental clarity, and concentration.
And most importantly, it tastes like a delicious cup of coffee with half the caffeine of a regular cup, so you won't get any of the jitters or afternoon crash. Head over to everydaydose.com/trips for 25% off plus 5 free gifts with your first order.
Your first month, you get a USB rechargeable frother, which is amazing. I can speak from experience. You get a gunmetal dose spoon, breathwork app by Othership, wellness booklet, and a sticker. Every month after, you get amazing free gifts with your order.
If you haven't used your sticker yet, my kids want it. Go to everydaydose.com/trips for 25% off plus 5 free gifts with your first order.
Here we go.
Did you guys get along as a foursome?
Honestly, you guys, I have such a bad memory. We did. I think so. I think we did. I have these very fond memories. Like we skied a lot and we hung out at the cabin and we were very outdoorsy as a family. But I also remember my parents fighting a lot. They're still married, so obviously they don't quit anything. But they fought nonstop. And that is the main thing that I remember about family trips was that my mom and dad just fought for the most part.
Would they fight and then go to their separate corners, or would they stay in it?
I think it was literally, they just stayed in it for 50 years.
Uh-huh.
It's like they're still in it. They're
Yeah.
still in that. But there's no one else that they would rather fight with. You know what I mean? In this weird effed up sort of thing. Like they have found their match in a beautiful way. But my brother and I are both terrified of confrontation.
Gotcha.
Terrified.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Fair enough.
we have a
Yeah.
couple of those 50 years in it and in it to win it. Parents
Yeah.
as well.
Do you?
Yep.
Yeah. It's fun.
It is
fun.
I wouldn't want to meet any new people.
No, I know.
Really
I am
happy.
no.
I'm really happy with those.
I also don't want to think about my dad having sex or my mother having sex with
Interesting.
anyone, including each other.
I do.
You do?
Yeah. You know what? We'll
Why?
probably cut that out. No. I mean, I don't even want to think about them having sex with one another. I mean, in my perfect world, it was
No.
twice.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
2 times for us too. I don't I don't want to know that. My mother also was an oversharer with children. So I know a lot of things that I should never have known as a child. And so, you learned from these things. I hope to pass them along to my child, the opposite.
Right. I am married. I'm married to an oversharer. Like,
Are
I
you?
feel like that doesn't surprise you, right, Josh? Like, Alexi's
No.
family is so open.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
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 I married an oversharer, like not an oversharer, but like my family's not touchy. Like my family is like, we're like we hug each other all the time, which drives my husband nuts. He goes, so we live in Portland now. When do we get to a point where we don't have to hug goodbye every time we see your family? And I'm like, this coming from the guy who the first time I saw him give his mother a massage, she was like, oh, Robbie. Oh my God, right there, Robbie. Oh, Robbie. Oh, and I remember thinking to myself, what the sweet fuck is happening? So now when he gives me a massage and it feels really good, I always go, "Oh, Robbie."
Of course.
But his family is very, very touchy. They're very open with like their love for each other, and like they're very just emotionally available and physically available to each other, which always like feels weird to me. Like that, you know, I don't know. It just feels very strange to me, and I'm always like, wow, Canadians, man.
But the hugging throws him for a loop. But they're very touchy.
Does.
Huh?
Yeah,
That's so
because
weird.
he's like, when do we get to like not hug your family goodbye when we see
We're
them for
huge
like a
huggers.
coffee?
Myers family.
So are we.
Yeah. Also, it's not like it takes long. It's not like I stay in that hug for like.
It's like,
you know,
I just
a
want
good
to beat
minute.
traffic. Do we have to do the hugs?
Yeah.
That's a thing.
I will say I think the first time I met my future father-in-law, my wife warned me. She's like, and just FYI, my dad might kiss you on the lips. And I think he might have.
Does he still kiss you on the
And
lips?
then he's a real kisser.
Yeah, he's kissed me on the lips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has he?
Yeah.
He's
My
great.
dad started kissing on the lips
Mm-hmm.
older.
Oh.
Oh.
He started doing it like as an adult, like to show affection. And, you know, I think it's because like he sort of was influenced by people around him that were doing it. And he was like, okay, all right, I guess this
Yeah.
is what we do. And so that's what we do.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not weird at all.
I don't think so.
I think I
Yeah.
started when people came out as guests, I think I did start like maybe kissing women on the cheek, which felt like maybe what I'd seen like old school hosts do. And then I stopped doing that. I kind of had a
Did
moment
you?
where I'm like, I feel like this just doesn't feel like, yeah.
Yeah, but we
So
we both lived in Amsterdam for a little while, which is a
Yeah.
very kissing culture. It's like a 3 kisses is sort of the standard greeting.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think maybe that was still in you somewhere.
Now I just kiss them when the cameras stop rolling.
Yeah.
Just do it.
No proof.
Yeah.
You really want to just make
I'm
sure
getting.
that
I want to
there's
stress.
no
I'm getting
physical-
the kiss. I just don't know the right
course you-
time. Yeah.
You just don't, and you don't put it on camera anymore. My family, we're going to Amsterdam
Ooh,
with
really?
the two littles. We are.
Great.
We are. Yeah.
What brought it about?
So I am doing a sci-fi convention in Germany, and I was like going to go by myself and just like fly over really quick and fly back. And then I thought to myself, hey, it's during December. Like maybe, and I am like Christmas. Like I literally like bleed Santa Claus. And so I was like, Christmas markets.
Yes.
I have been dying to go to German Christmas markets my entire life. And so we're going, and we're taking the in-laws with us so we don't have to watch our own kids.
Great. So it's going to be you and your husband, two grandparents, 2 kids.
Yeah. That's the
Amazing.
plan. Yeah. So we can at least give one away.
Well, if you love Santa Claus, if you're in Amsterdam early enough, you could be there for Sinterklaasdag, which is a sort of a weird version of Santa Claus that has some really racially questionable sidekicks. Called
Yes.
Zwarte Piet,
Yes.
which is getting some real kickback.
Yeah.
Since
I would
the time we
imagine
were
so.
there to now, but it's a real
Yeah.
thing.
December 5th.
My
Santa Claus.
husband keeps talking about Sinterklaas with my daughter. And I'm like, she's 3. She's so confused already.
Yeah.
Like,
don't
we don't
add
need
a second
to-
Santa
she-
Claus.
No, don't add a second Santa Claus. And I think that she thinks that he's like the elf on the shelf wants to murder her. Like, I think that
Right.
like she's terrified of all of this stuff. Yeah.
Well, Sinterklaas, if you're bad, he comes on a boat from Spain. And if you're bad, he puts you in a bag and takes you to Spain where you will make toys for other children for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit worse than a lump of coal in your stocking.
It's
Yeah,
like equivalent.
It's kidnapping.
Yeah.
it's
It's
death
equivalent to a
kidnapping.
year at a boarding school in Provo. It's like, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Who knew? Right?
How long is your trip?
12 days. 12 days.
12
So
days.
we're doing 7 of the days in Germany and then 5 or 6 of the days in Amsterdam.
It's one
Flying in and out of Amsterdam.
Great.
Have you taken, obviously not the 4-month-old, has the older one been on a plane overseas?
Yeah. When she was 7 months old, we went to London with her. So she has traveled so much. She's such a great traveler. And so our son will be about the same age that she was when she traveled internationally the first time. We had a pediatrician then, though, that told us to just give her Benadryl.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, like, let's give her Benadryl. She slept the whole way over. Come to find out that you should never give your child Benadryl for the first time actually on the plane when you need them to sleep, because it can have the opposite effect on some children.
It did on mine.
Child that is, did you?
Yep. It
Like,
literally,
what
it was like,
happened?
bang.
Oh my God. So you tried it on a plane and that's
We
what
tried
happened?
it on a plane. He was awake the whole flight. Every time anybody walked by, he said, hi, so loud. Everybody trying to sleep. And then the famous line was when we landed and everybody was so over him. And the wheels touched the ground and he screamed, we did it, guys. And there was no, he thought there would be a collective cheer. And there was a real we did nothing.
How old was he? Was he in a cute phase?
He was, I would say 2.5. Yeah.
Super cute then.
Super cute, but they were
Super
not.
cute.
Nobody was having it. Nobody was having it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That's a fantastic way to tie work and family together, I'll tell you.
I think so. I sort of had this thinking about conventions that if they're close and I can go and come back in, a day and a half, I'll go by myself. If it's farther than that and I'd have to be gone for 4 days, that maybe we just extend it and only pick places that are fun to travel to. So we're going to Costa Rica next year. That would be fun.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And then I think at some point Australia is supposed to happen. I keep pushing that one back because I don't want to be on a plane for 14 hours with 2 children.
Fair.
That seems insanity. That's 10. I can handle 10. You know what I mean? Going past that 12-hour mark, I don't know if I'm ready for.
Which of your pieces of work is the biggest draw at the conventions?
It used to be Battlestar for sure, and then
Right.
last year it finally transitioned to be Star Wars.
That's what I was
Finally.
wondering. If it just
Yeah.
the recency bias of Star Wars.
It
But that
did,
must be
and
great.
I think that audience is just so consuming of the universe that anyone that's a part of it, you become synonymous with that project.
Yeah. I'm sure those Star Wars fans and Mandalorian fans aren't mad at the Battlestar Galactica sort of kicker.
Piece of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so. My goal in life, I keep saying that my goal in life is to really confuse people, sci-fi fans particularly, when they come to talk to me about a project. I just want to do so much of it that they come to me and they have this just word scramble come out of their head, Battlestar, Star Trek. They just can't.
Yeah.
That's my goal, to just really continue to do sci-fi stuff to go for the real geek trifecta.
Well, you're certainly getting the pick of the litter. So I don't. It seems like a very good plan that's working out for you.
It's if I couldn't have scripted it myself, so it's pretty awesome.
How young were
pretty
you
awesome.
when you went to LA?
I went down with my mother at 17.
With acting in your eyes?
Yes, yeah, I had done a Lifetime movie of the week when I was 16, 17. That was with Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, wow.
And I booked a 1-scene role that got me Taft-Hartley'd into the union, which was amazing. I had no idea what that would actually mean to my career, to just be, inducted into the union that quickly. But the director of that movie convinced my mother that there was something about me that she needed to take me to Los Angeles to introduce me to his representatives. And so my mom flew me down and introduced me to his agent and manager, who they signed me with no resume. And as soon as I turned 18 and graduated high school, my mom drove me down and left me there.
Really?
How
I
long did she
know.
stay in LA, or was she like just drop you off at the corner and then turn right around?
I think she stayed long enough to like help me set up the apartment.
Yeah.
Because the deal was that if I stayed in community college, they would pay my rent.
Okay.
all right.
Everything else I had to cover with like a job, but they would pay my living expense. And so my mom set me up and I went to Santa Monica Community College and
Great community
but
college.
it was awesome. It was so
it's
great.
got a cool campus, and yeah.
It was I think not daunting, like it was small enough but big enough that my mom didn't feel terrified. I don't know how she did it. But she dropped me off and she said that she cried the entire flight home. But like she goes, Katee, when you cry, when a little kid cries and they can't catch their breath, the entire way home, people on the plane thought someone had died. Like I just couldn't stop crying. And the irony was that I had dropped her off at the airport and I lost my car at the airport parking because it was so big. I didn't remember where I parked. And I sat
Classic
sobbing,
from the woods, girl.
sobbing in the parking lot at LAX, trying to find my car until she pretty much landed. And so we were both sobbing for probably 2 hours. I was terrified. And finally a security guard took pity on me and threw me in a golf cart and drove me around to find it. Because that weird parking lot where 5 and 6 are connected and you can walk from one to the next? I got lost and couldn't remember what structure I parked in. And then it was so big. I grew up in this small town and had only lived in Portland for like 3 years and had never really, I only drove in Portland for a year and everything was very small to me. And then I moved to LA and it was massive. And I just was, a fish out of water. Crazy.
It is really speaks to the problem when they're like, do you remember what level you're on? And you're like, I don't even remember the structure.
Well, also, if you were parked at the terminal, I feel like they give you 15 minutes to drop someone off. But also, if you had to wait for 2 hours for your mom to land, you're probably paying like $60-$70 at that point.
I know, which was like all the money I had. That was supposed to pay like my, like at that point, that was the money for my utilities and my gas. Had to leave the car there for 6 months. Like it was, I remember that just being really, really scary. And then by the grace of all things holy, I booked a show that moved me to Vancouver when I was 18.
Oh, wow.
So I got to slowly grow into California.
What was the Vancouver show when you were 18?
It was called The Fearing Mind. It was a show on Fox Family that only lasted for 9 episodes, but it got me out of LA for like 4 or 5 months. So little things like that would happen where, and then I had to just get used to Los Angeles and then move to New York for a year. So I was bouncing all over the place.
What was the New
it's
York
amazing. 2001.
Wow, that was the year I moved to New York City.
Was it?
Yeah, I moved, but I moved.
Where did you live?
West Village.
Okay,
Where
it's
were
a
you?
much smarter place to move with a lot of youth in that area. I moved to the Upper East Side.
Yeah, I should say, I came in as small town as you. I had no sense of where I should live in New York City, but a friend of Josh and I was leaving New York. And he had the apartment in the West Village, and he said, you should just take over my apartment. Don't look around. This is the place you want to be.
Oh my God, so smart. So smart.
And I have I've lived within half a mile of that apartment for the last almost 24 years.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
4 apartments.
That's crazy.
4 apartments? 5 apartments in 24 years. Pretty crazy.
Wow.
I love it.
That's like
it's so
some
funny
rent
though, but I realize
control.
I'm a New Yorker, but I'm also a very small town because I like to go to the same coffee place. I like to know the people at the deli.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. And that's what I love about New York. When we go back, we stay in small places.
Were you living here during 9/11?
I was.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I moved there for a show that shot in Burbank Like, so
Okay.
in Burbank, excuse me, in Brooklyn.
I was saying New York's a terrible place to live if you're shooting
Terrible
in
commute,
Burbank.
Katie. It's crazy. What are you doing?
JetBlue used to fly to Burbank.
Burbank is thrilled that they've just been essentially considered the
Brooklyn of Los Angeles.
Brooklyn of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I was there for 22 episodes of a show. A show with Richard Dreyfuss. It was an awesome, it was a really great, like, sort of like upbringing in the business. But 9/11 happened, and we got canceled during that time. And I was very relieved to sort of leave New York. As a small town kid, it was too much for me to sort of, to navigate through emotionally. I think it was the first time, and I don't know how it affected you, but like that was the first time that I realized that bad things happen. I was very sheltered in life, I would put myself in situations where how I didn't get into trouble was amazing. I was so ignorant to the world. And that was the first time where I was like, oh, bad things happen. And it was too much for me to handle at 21.
But you must have been, the Battlestar must have been pretty soon after, huh?
It was right after that. It was right after that. It was like 8 months later. Yeah.
So how old were you for the first season of Battlestar?
23.
Oh my God.
23. Yeah. I turned 23 when we were shooting the miniseries.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Super baby. It's crazy.
It's an incredible piece of casting, let me tell you. Like, I feel
It's
like, because
phenomenal.
I did it.
You have to watch this show, Katie. You have to watch
it. It's crazy that we're telling you how
I know.
good.
I should watch it, you guys. It's crazy. People tell me it's great.
Yeah, they're right.
I need to
they're
watch it.
All right.
I will have the time to watch 78 hours of any show when my children
Yes.
learn to wipe their own butts.
Great.
It's also, a friend of ours, Neil Brennan, used to use Battlestar as a joke where he's saying, like, nothing's more daunting when somebody's like, oh my God, you got to watch Battlestar. And it's like, how long is it? It's like 6 seasons. And he's like, I could either like watch that or get a helicopter pilot's license.
It's true. I was like, learn a different language.
Yeah.
Like there's, you know what I mean? Like that is a commitment. It's a commitment.
It is a commitment, but you know what is great in the dirty secret of a previous era of television? Because Battlestar was commercial television, they're not hour-long episodes. And you realize like how nice it is. They're 42 minutes that you do not, like you get all the bang for your buck, but like you kind of feel a little bit less gross if you watch 3 in a night.
It's true. And you also have that moment too where you convince yourself to watch one more because it's not an hour.
Well, have you ever seen maybe the greatest sketch about binging television ever called One More Episode? Which is
On Portlandia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, great.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
you do live in Portland, and
I do.
You were on Battlestar.
I do. It was so funny too because I was so offended that I was not asked to be in that episode.
It's kind of shocking,
like, really offended. And then my manager at the time was like, I didn't want to tell you, but they actually did inquire, and you had just had your tonsils taken out, and so I didn't bring it up because I knew it would break your heart. And I was like, I would have been a mute or something on this show. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I didn't need faculties. I would have figured it out. Or maybe it was my thyroid when they took that out. I don't remember what it was, but I was incapacitated and couldn't do it, which made me feel a little bit better that they asked.
Of course. That's all you want to know is you got asked. Yeah.
That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. You know, like, did Letterman ever inquire to have me on the show as myself?
Or was I
only as good as that suit? You know what I mean?
I will dig into it. Are you enjoying podcasting yourself?
I love it, you guys. I love it. I wish I'd gotten into it sooner. It's I don't know. There's something about having conversations with people that is a contained conversation where you are digging into aspects about them that you would never normally get to talk about. And I love that. I really do. And it's allowed me to reconnect with people that I haven't seen for a long time and then meet people that I've never met, which is really fun.
Well, based on talking to you today, I imagine you're very good at it.
I was listening to the Edward James Olmos episode earlier this morning, and I'm jealous that you call him Eddie. It just wouldn't even cross my mind that someone would call him Eddie. But of course, you guys are obviously so close and spent so much time together. And it is like he's a fascinating guy and he's got a fascinating story. And I feel like you know so many fascinating people. And then, to meet the new people, that's something that we do. And it's a joy. And so the Sackhoff Show.
I love it. It's awesome. I realized I had ADHD, though, you guys, when I started doing interviews. Because I had learned, and I don't know about you guys, if you had to sort of learn to have conversations. I mean, you do this for a living, but like I was raised where the only way you're heard is if you talk over people. And so I had to learn how to actually have conversations and to hold on to a question and not blurt it out in the middle of a story because I'm not having coffee with this person. Like I'm actually trying to get them to finish their story. And it made me realize that I had ADHD. So, I'm now medicated.
The podcast should be called Let Me Cut You Off with Katee Sackhoff.
Where were you when I was trying to find a title that was freaking available? You guys, there are none. I've tried everything. I even went so far as like trying to get an AI program to create a name for me, and they couldn't find one.
I'm glad you didn't go down that road. Before Josh is going to ask you our wrap-up questions, but when you're at your Christmas market, make sure you get Glühwein. Get a good hot glass of Glühwein, which is like a hot mulled wine.
Red wine. Yeah. Yeah. Delicious.
But not for children.
Not for children. No.
Okay. Because it sounds like it would be hot chocolate. It sort of sounds like it would be hot chocolate. Yeah. No.
And it might be too cold, and this is just sort of a plug for a very small company in Amsterdam, but there's a company called Those Damn Boat Guys. And they run these little boat tours that maybe can hold like 12 or 14 people. And you could do it with just your crew and say, we don't want anyone else on it. And they're very charming. And we've got, a friend that runs the theater that we work for over there. And he says, look at the glassed-in boats and tell me if you ever see anyone who looks like they're having fun. Because they don't. Like the huge boats, they just don't look fun. It might be too cold, but if you guys bundle up, reach out to Those Damn Boat Guys. They're the best.
You know what? I think we will do that. And I have heated vests for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Because, speaking of small companies, there's a company called Aroro. Love it.
I have an Aroro vest, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
So what I love about that company is they are a small company and their product is not astronomically expensive. And so the entry point is a lot easier for people too. If you are in need of like a heated garment, it's affordable. And they work so well. So I will just pack everybody's Aroro jackets and like heat us up. Because now that I know that we're going to go on a boat ride.
Yes. Yeah. Open air boat ride. Those damn boat guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Best.
Done.
Right,
I'll do it.
Now Josh is going to lay
Final
on
question.
All right. Some series of questions, kind of quick hitters.
Okay.
You can only pick one of these. Is your ideal vacation relaxing, adventurous, or educational?
Oh shit, you guys. I would say adventurous.
Great. What is your favorite means of transportation? Train, plane, automobile, boat, bike, walking? Something else?
I would say plane, but now that I have children, anything under 10 hours, we are now driving.
Great. If this one's tricky. If you could take a vacation with any family, alive or dead, real or fictional, other than your own family, what family would you like to take a family vacation with?
Oh my God. I was just going to say my in-laws. They could babysit my kids.
Okay, that's allowed. And that's where you're at right now. And that's when we asked.
Yeah.
That's when we asked.
I'm so tired.
Yeah, you got
so tired. Like I was
cried a little bit when she gave that answer.
I did a little bit. There was a tear in me that was like, I will
cried
never.
Just a little bit.
I'm trying to figure out how to move him in.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you. Would your husband not want them to move in?
I think if there was separation, I think he would be okay because I think he's as tired as I am.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
How far away did they live by drive?
10 hours.
Oh, right there. How far away are your parents?
30 minutes. Less involved.
Yeah.
Gotcha. If you had to be stranded on a desert island with one member of your family, who would it be?
My dad.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he'd have that boat and could get you right off the desert island, lickety
You could
split.
dock it.
Yeah, I actually really enjoy talking to my dad too. He annoys the rest of my family. The rest of my family would never pick my father because he's such a tyrant. But I never run out of things to talk to my dad about.
Great.
Wonderful.
So I'd be entertained.
You are from St. Helens, Oregon. Would you recommend St. Helens as a vacation destination?
No. But I would recommend right up the road, you can visit like Astoria, where they, and like Klatskanai, which is the area where they shot Goonies.
Oh, yeah. I've been out there. It's beautiful.
Just showed Goonies to my 8-year-old. I was worried it would be a
Good?
little too scary, and it's just the best.
Is it?
It's the Goonies are good enough
Amazing.
for me.
Such a good movie. And FYI, so there's a Little Golden Goonies book. And so our daughter knows all about Goonies, but by Little Golden. So, because my intention is to expose her to all of the things that I love in a palatable form for a 3-year-old, and then spring it on her. She's now obsessed and running around the house pretending she's Wonder Woman, and she wants to find the Martian Manhunter.
Great.
All by Little Golden. So we're getting
Perfect.
there.
Yep.
Great.
We have a lot of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Seth has our final questions.
Have you been to the
Okay.
Grand Canyon?
As a child and as an adult, yes.
Oh, and was it worth it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you like it as
I've
a
never
child?
hiked down it.
Okay.
I think as a child, the trip in general was amazing. We went on this RV trip with my family and my grandparents when I was a kid. And we went like Yellowstone to the geysers and the Grand Canyon and that whole thing. And that trip was a really fun trip for me, probably not my parents, who were sleeping toe to head on the table that turns into a bed, and my grandparents got the really nice, king size bed, and my brother and I were up above the driver's seat. I think I wet the bed 4 times on that trip. It didn't end well.
Well, it's a rented RV. Rented
Yeah,
RV. Yeah. Someone else going to deal with that.
I mean, why are you putting a 6-year-old who still wets the bed in a rented RV with no like pull-ups or like bedwetting protection whatsoever? That's on you.
That's
Yeah.
on you.
Yeah. You weren't the first. You weren't the first kid that peed in that RV. Also,
No,
so
I'll tell you that much.
let
I'll
yourself
tell
off
you
the hook.
that much.
Probably not. Probably not. Don't go into a rented RV with a black light, guys.
No. It's that's what do they say? It's like an RV in blacklight.
A.
That's that's what they say in Canada. All right, we figured it out.
Yeah.
Katie, this has been a delight. What a joy to see you again, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Oh my
Katie.
gosh, of course. It's been nice to see you guys again as well. Next time we're in a TSA line, make sure you say hi, Josh.
I will say hi next time.
And love to your
Okay.
family, and enjoy your December trip.
Thank you. I'm really excited about it. Now I'm going to go tell my husband about those 2 damn boat guys.
Yeah, those damn boat guys.
Okay.
Those damn boat guys. Okay,
Yeah.
Got it.
All right. Be well. Thank you.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Katie.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
When